Hello, hello, and we are live. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here with us today. If you're live, and you can put it in the chat box that you're with us live right now, or if you're watching this on replay, put a hashtag replay so we know that you are here. So we want to welcome you to Career Lounge Live, helping you to be a greater you. So this lounge is designed to help middle and high schooler students prepare for life after high school. So like people say, failing to plan is planning to fail. So we definitely want to plan, we definitely want to be prepared, and we definitely want to bring to you all the tools that you need to prepare for your future. So today's topic is exploring the destinations. And we want to, encourage you that you can invite people to our Facebook group, Love Our Youth. And if you're already a member, please tag people onto this live. Or if you know a middle schooler, high schooler, a parent that has students in this range of age, please share this video. Don't keep the information for you, share it with others. And if you have not seen the previous sessions that we have had, you can go to our YouTube page, Love Our Youth, or here in the Facebook group, you can also watch them. So we want to give a special thanks to the Career Lounge Live sponsor, EXL, a leading data analytics and digital operations and solutions company. So if you want to learn more about EXL, you can go to www.exlservice.com. So thank you so much to EXL, because we are able to bring this to you at no cost at all. So thank you again, all of you, for joining. And remember, please share this, because this is a very, very valuable information. This is very important information for all of our youth. So we want to talk a little bit about who we are. We are Love Our Youth. We are a nonprofit organization providing programs for youth throughout Central Florida. Our mission is to encourage youth to embrace their self-worth and values life lessons in order to maximize their potential. So today we are going to describe how occupations can be grouped into clusters. We're going to sort occupations into this cluster and then select two of these clusters as favorite based on percent knowledge. And what is all that I just said? Is we're going to help you to choose what you're going to do. So for example, one of my sons, he wants to study music, right? But within the music, there's a ton of stuff that you can do, right? You can do production, or you can be a singer, right? So what do you want to do? So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to see like all those different options that you have. But today, before we start with all this information, we want to welcome our facilitator for today. She is Rebecca. And let's see if I make this Skullthorpe. Oh my God, help me with your last name. Rebecca,
that was good.
Thank you. Rebecca Becky, right? I think people call you Becky. She's
Yes.
here with us today. She's a certified procedural coder, currently working as an auditor 3 for EXL Health. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for being here with us.
Thank you. I'm happy to have the opportunity. I'm excited.
So,
hi, everybody.
Before we jump into today's topic, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Why did you choose your current career? So we can know you a little bit more.
Sure. Well, I am one of those good examples of career changes throughout your life, but they kind of all string together. I've always loved the administrative side of work, and I started out in more the marketing field, and it kind of morphed into what I'm doing now, simply because my goals were to not only have a career that I could really enjoy, but also I wanted to raise my family. So I needed something with flexibility. I needed something where I could work from home. I've been actually working remote for, I think about 16 years now. So
Wow.
yeah, so this is not a new thing. I know some people, it's kind of new to a lot of people, but no, it's something that I actually strived for very early on. My youngest is now 25. So when he was just 3 years old, I went back to school for a program to get into coding because I knew that it was something that had flexibility and I could do remotely. So, but at the same time, I was also a Girl Scout leader for my daughter. I was the Sunday school director for our church. I always wanted to help and lift up children. I always wanted to, show them all of the opportunities that are out there in the world. So I'm just very interested in mentoring people to say, hey, look, just because you start out in one place doesn't mean you have to end there. You can, there's so many opportunities out there for you. There's just basically, I guess what I can really bring to the table is that I've had separate careers based on the needs of my particular life. And that's something that, people think maybe they can't do, but you can fix it so that you can accomplish other things at the same time. So that's why I really was kind of drawn to this program because especially high school age, oh my gosh, I'm going to college for this. So that means that's the rest of my life. No, it's not.
No, it's not. And I
Doesn't have to
remember,
be.
yeah, I remember when I was in high school, I took a test like to see because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And then because of that test, it was supposedly accounting. My first semester, I was like, nope, this is not for me. Okay, let's go back and see what are my options. So that's why we want to bring this to you. So beforehand, before that happened, you can explore all those destinations and see with those things that you like, what are the different options that you can explore? So that's why this topic is so, so, so important. And we are so excited to hear what you got for us today, Rebecca. So the table, the floor is yours. So let's give us all the information in exploring destinations.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I voted civic duty. So go democracy. Our country is one of the reasons why we have this fabulous exploring the destinations. We can literally do anything we want. So let me just share the screen here and give me a second while I present. And I will tell you that this could get a little dicey because I'm not used to 3 screens. I'm used to 2 screens and I now have 3 screens going because my laptop is open. So let's see here. Let me see, can I move this box? I'd like to move the people box over. There we go. That's better. Okay, now I can see everything. Okay. So, all right, so let's get started. What we have here is exploring the destinations. Now, let's go to from beginning slideshow. Okay. All right. So at the end of this module, you'll be able to describe how occupations can be grouped into clusters. sort occupations into these clusters and select 2 of these clusters as favorites based on present knowledge. This last section here will be more or less a homework suggestion for you. Now let me know if I'm making a circle with my mouse right now. Can you see that? Can everybody see that? Okay, good. So I'm not going to read each slide because that's something that I think you would absorb more on your own. But I do want to give an overview and then examples of how these slides work for me and also how they've worked for just members of my own family. And the ones that I'm going to focus on a little bit with you are the business management and administration, the marketing, finance, hospitality and tourism, and human services. So just in my small family, all of these different areas play a very huge part in our lives, because we all made our own choices and we all basically moved through, I guess, the pathways that literally one phone call can change for you. One thing that I want to mention at this point is we talked about going to college, you know, having a certain career in college. So when you talk about choosing a particular area, let's take accounting, for instance. That's been mentioned. That happens to be the career, the degree that my husband got in college, accounting. Mainly because his dad was an accountant and he thought, okay, my dad's an accountant, I'll go be an accountant, that's fine. He likes numbers, he's a very black and white person, so it's, you know, it's there's no gray areas basically, so he fits pretty well with numbers. So he graduates and the first job that he gets is at Michigan National Bank in the credit department as a credit analyst for commercial lending. Now, if you're not familiar with what commercial lending is, basically businesses need money to keep their businesses going. So they go to the bank and they say, hey, can I borrow $50,000? And so it goes on from there. So because that was his first job, the next job that he got was basically in the same area, commercial lending. Well, careers move on and he ended up going into a couple of different areas within commercial lending, becoming a VP in a couple of those different areas of commercial lending, workout, the lending side. And then he decided he wanted to try something different. So he went into the leasing field, which is actually where he met me. And then back to commercial lending. So he never really was an accountant. I think he did a controller job for about a year. And that was it. So he has an accounting degree, but he's in commercial finance. So this is a perfect example of what can happen, because he took a phone call, he went on an interview, he's like, yeah, this job sounds like I might like it, and it turns into his entire career, and he's been in banking business for 40 years. So this is what can happen when you when you choose a certain field, because there's so many fields within it, you really never know where you're going to end up, which is a good thing because it gives you a lot of options. So then you have the business management and administration. That's all me. I started out in high school with the basically the data entry training. So I loved typing. So I wanted to be data entry clerk, and then I wanted to be a word processor. So I'm really dating myself here. I know we don't really have those jobs anymore, but that's what we did. We entered numbers all day or we typed all day. And then from there, I moved into supportive roles for marketing people, where I was doing all of their typing and all of their administrative work and that kind of thing. From there, I moved into supervising other people that were supporting sales reps and marketing people. From there, I went into being the administrative, I suppose you could call it administrative assistant for the president and the two vice presidents of the leasing company where I met my husband. And I met my husband because I was also supporting him in his job at that company. So, you know, everything kind of weaves together. And, you know, it was busy because it's marketing. So what happens? You spend a lot of time at work. But my husband and I, as I said, we met, we got married. I wanted children. I wanted to stay home with my children. But I did promise him that I would at some point go back to work. But I needed some time with those babies. So what I ended up doing was I really had to sit down, and I actually looked through all of these to say, okay, what do I do now? Because I can't go back to what I was doing, because those are 12-hour days in the office. You have to support these people. And I'm still, you know, I'm still supporting my children. Like I said, I'm doing the Girl Scout thing. I'm doing the Sunday school director thing. So how can I get a career, not just a job, but a career where I could grow and still be able to handle all of these other responsibilities that I have? So that's where this particular presentation really is, it kind of drills down to what are your options within the areas that you really want to focus on. And there's a lot of them. There's just not one thing or another. Now, I love administration. I love, you know, filing. I love typing. I'm very detail oriented, and I'm a perfectionist. So what area can I go into that allows me to utilize those skills that I have and also meet the responsibilities that I have outside of my career, where I have the flexibility? And I started looking into the healthcare side because I had heard that coding was something that, you know, is flexible. You can also do it at home. It's also very detail oriented, very much an administrative role. A lot of books, a lot of reading, you know, a lot of organization. All of these things I already was very good at. So all of my skill set basically transferred from marketing into the healthcare fields within the coding spectrum. And then my career took off from there on the coding side. Never really thought I'd be an auditor, but once again, the phone rang. Why not? Why not give it a shot? So I gave it a shot, and I've been with Excel. Well, I actually haven't been with Excel a year yet, but we'll get there. And I have basically been in all respects within coding. I've been in the coordinator positions, which is basically a supervisory position. I've been in the training and education side. I've done presentations for grand rounds for physicians. And there are all sorts of skills that go along with just that. You need to be very social, which I don't know if you've noticed, but I sort of am. And there are just a lot of, well, one thing I like to say is I've never met a physician who wasn't the captain of the debate team. Because if you tell a physician that he can or cannot code a procedure a certain way, he's going to have a lot to say about it. So basically, you really have to kind of know your stuff and be able to really lay out the facts. And that's something where, you can't be intimidated by that. It's like, look, you can't do it. If you don't, if you're not happy with that, you're going to have to write your congressman, because this is all about Medicare and the government. This isn't about me. So that's basically how your life can kind of take its different turns, but still stay within the same field. As I said, more or less started out in business management and administration, and sort of I'm still there. It's just I'm in a different field now. So that's something that is really, that's what life is. I mean, I don't know of really anybody that stayed in the same field, unless of course you're a physician, but even then you go into teaching and all sorts of things there too. So, so the next slides basically break down all of these different, these 16 national career clusters. So when you look now, you'll see the first one is agriculture, food, and natural resources. And then within that, occupations related to farming, ranching, forestry, and saving natural resources. Workers in this cluster may work outside, or a combination of indoors and outdoors, work with plants and animals, be in charge of growing food and preparing it for sale. Examples would be food scientist, wildlife manager, wastewater manager, and farm manager. So this gives you an idea of what within each cluster, how it breaks down. And this is what would be a really good thing for you to take back and just kind of study on your own, just to kind of look at each one. Start Googling some of this. If you love gardening, this could be a perfect area for you. The next one, architecture and construction. Again, work outdoors or indoors, draw the plans for buildings, build part of a house or building, repair a house or building. I'm doing that right now. Restore an old house, that's what we're doing. So here are some examples of careers within that cluster. Okay, and then we have arts, AV technology, and communications. Here is here's an area that there is just no way. I am so not artistic or creative at all. So this is something that, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time looking at for me personally, just because I know this is not me. And again, this is what's so great about this, because you can just look at each one, like, oh yeah, that's me, or oh no, I don't want anything to do with that one. If it has to do with creativity, and I mean, I'd love to entertain through acting, singing, dancing, or other art forms, but my husband informs me that I shouldn't. So, okay, I guess I won't. And again, video systems technician, that's something that, if you love technology, if you love electronics, all of that kind of thing, that's where, you can really thrive in fields like this as well, especially now. I mean, everything, it's really, I mean, it's just the opportunities are endless with the way, technology is taking off and so on and so forth. So then you've got mine. Here's business management and administration. Now, I mean, just about everything I've done is on this one slide right here. Okay, so you've got occupations related to making businesses operate. Workers in this cluster may work indoors. Yeah, we do. Plan and manage the day-to-day operation of a business. Supervise the work of others. Support the work of others by taking care of clerical work and details. When I was on the marketing side, I always said, listen, I would have meetings with my sales reps when I would ask them, for certain things that I would need to be able to do my job, which supported them. And I would say to them, look, You bring the customers in the door, I'll keep them in the building. Okay, so basically we all have our part to play. And as long as we're all working together, as long as you get me those forms when I need those forms, I'll be able to get that information or that order out to that customer. And then what happens? That customer's thrilled. What do? They come back. So that's a skill that you can pick up in really any field when it comes to supporting other people. And then, you know, you take off from there. I worked at a very large healthcare system prior to EXL. I still, because I work remotely, I have a landline, which, you know, I use as my work phone. I still get phone calls from people that I worked with 5 years ago, some of them doctors, who call me up to say, I knew you'd be able to get me the answer if you don't know it already. Because that's the thing. That's what I always did. Whether or not I could solve the problem, if you brought that problem to me, I took ownership. And then I either solved the problem or found the person that could. And that's the type of thing that just kind of, you know, you just kind of roll with it within whatever career choices you make. So again, it's all about what you love to do, really. And that's something that I always loved to do. I loved administration. I also loved helping people. I loved teaching things to people. So I got into fields that, you know, enabled me to do that. And then you've got education and training. Again, we all know what this is. This is another thing that we could certainly use a lot of good people for. And again, it's not just about being a teacher. You know, you can do all sorts of things within this field. I have a cousin who is a school psychologist. She's in the school system. She works, you know, in the education and training field, but she started, you know, she wanted to be a psychologist, but she also wanted to work in education. So she became a school psychologist. So many options out there. Now here's the finance one. Occupations related to managing and keeping track of money. Workers in this cluster may work indoors, invest money for people, keep track of money for businesses or banks. That's more of the accounting side. Put together insurance plans for people or companies. Examples are personal finance advisor, tax preparer, accountant, credit analyst. Again, how did my husband start his career? He started as a credit analyst, became the VP of, you know, commercial lending and I don't know, all sorts of stuff that has to do with banks and numbers. Loan officer, teller, actuary, claims agent, insurance appraiser, bill and account collector. There's all sorts of good things there. Government and public administration. Hey, you know, you want to be a civil servant? That's perfect. This is a lot of, oh my gosh, a submarine officer. Who wants to do that? No. I like air. So I'm sorry. I'm sure it's a very nice career for anyone that would like it, but I am not living in a submarine. So again, this is one that I would be like, no, no, thank you. Okay. Health science. Now, here is, you know, this is one thing that's kind of interesting to me because here I am, a medical coder, and you would kind of think that I would fall into this area. I really don't. We fall more into the administrative side. So again, that's kind of how my trajectory went, but that's because I was looking for something that, you know, fulfilled all of the requirements I had for myself, but also fit in with the skills that I have. So yeah, there's a lot of coding and auditing that really don't fall into health science. But I can tell you that the one area that, well, this more or less falls into my daughter's area, because she's working towards being a licensed uh, um, okay, I have it written down. She has her degree in biopsychology, cognition, neuropsychology, and she has her master's degree in being a licensed therapist, and she's working towards couples therapy. So that would fall under health science. And when she started out with her career, well, with her degree, she wasn't really sure where that was going to take her, but she knew that she didn't want to do research. She wanted to work with people, and which is why she basically went into the social worker mode. But then when, has decided to get her master's and go into becoming a licensed therapist. So that's kind of, how her trajectory went based on what she was really interested in doing. Hospitality and tourism. Now, here's one where this pertains to my son, who basically, when he was in high school, wanted a job, and they were hiring, I don't know if anybody knows of it, a BD Mongolian barbecue. They were hiring, and I said, why don't you just go there and talk to them, and at the time he was 17 and or 16, and he said, well, I don't know, they just kind of like, put food in bins and stuff like that. I said, you could become a griller when you're 18. And I don't know if you're aware, but these grillers, they flip swords and they cook with swords, and it's like, really, whoa, it's crazy. And, he loved watching them when we were there for his 16th birthday. And he says, really, Mom, do you think they'd let me be a griller? Could I be a griller? And I said, nobody was born a griller. Everybody was trained. Everybody has to learn at some point. The key is to take the step. So that is probably the main message I would have for any person at this point in their lives where you're at. And that is, take the first step, because nobody was born really into anything. They all had to learn. They were all trained by someone. So he worked his way, and he became head griller, and he went into the supervisor management program, and now he is looking for another job opportunity in restaurant management. Who knew? So this is how it happens. And let me tell you, the way we found out about the job was I was getting my hair done, and there was a girl sitting there, and I was talking to the hairdresser, and she was asking me how my son was doing. And I said, well, he's getting a little frustrated because he's looking for a job. He wants to spend some money that he doesn't have. So, and I'm not giving it to him. So he needs a job, and, he's getting frustrated. And this girl's sitting there, and she says, I work at BD's. We're always looking for people. He should come there and, interview on the spot. So I went home and I told him about it. He checked it out, and this is where we are today. So now, he's going into restaurant management. He went to college and so on and so forth. It got kind of messed up with COVID, but it's one of those things where you just never know. The phone may not ring. You may be talking to somebody at your hairdresser's, and there you go. You got a career. So the hospitality and tourism really runs the gamut You know, I keep telling my son he'll probably become a restaurant owner because he's convinced he's the only one that knows how to run them correctly. so, so I'm sure at some point he'll want that opportunity. Um, and then let me see, what do we got? Oh, human services. Um, Now this is another one that falls in with my daughter, human services. You've got mental health counselor, psychologist. So this is an area where, well, I mean, you have the cluster here, but really there's a lot more that is available within this area as well. So again, this is a great homework thing where you can do some Googling and, you know, see what options are out there for you. Information technology, oh boy, you know, we could use some coders out there, and I'm not talking medical ones. You know, I mean, this is a wonderful time again to be involved in technology if that's what you're interested in, if that's what you'd like to do. There's a lot of you know, a lot of mentoring programs out there too for this kind of thing. So again, a web administrator. I mean, you know, how many people, I mean, think of Angry Birds. I mean, some kid just created that app and, you know, now he never has to work a day in his life, but I'm sure he is because he was very bright. So I'm thinking he's creating quite a lot of stuff. So again, so many things that you can do. All you have to do is, you know, take that first step. The law, public safety, corrections and security, you know, what, you know, what 7-year-old boy doesn't want to be a police officer? You know, well, he went into restaurant management. So, but again, if you don't want to be on the street, you can be a jail administrator. You know, there's just there are so many areas here that really, you know, the one that stands out for me, youth services worker, that kind of thing, you know, something where, you know, you're really supporting your community. You know, jobs like this are phenomenal for, I really have a lot of respect for people that, you know, they work with the community, and that, you know, that brings about good things. Manufacturing, occupations related to making products. You know, again, the options are endless. There are a lot of areas within this that, I mean, this scratches the surface. You know, this is why we love Google. We can find everything on Google, which is probably kind of scary when you think about it. Marketing. Now, here's another one that I was in. Okay. Now, here's one that I actually, my mother told me that I could sell anything to anyone. And because I loved looking at houses, she said I should be a real estate agent. And I never was. But the only reason I wasn't was because I liked my weekends. So you got to think about what the what the requirements are. You know, I mean, especially in marketing. I mean, you basically, if you want the sale, you got to be there ready when it, you know, when it comes up. So this is something where within marketing, I went to the administrative side, and like I said, I supported the customers once they came in the door. So you don't actually have to be the salesperson, but you know, when you're the person in the background. I have a niece who's in advertising, but she's not one of the creative advertisers that thinks up the commercial. She's the one that makes sure that the commercial ends up on the air. She's the one that does all the paperwork. She's the one that makes sure that everybody's got all their ducks in a line when they're ready to present whatever advertising ideas that they want to do. So again, you can be in advertising, you may not be the creative type, so you're on the back end of it. I have another niece who is in radio, so that was something that she went into. And then you've got your science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. You know, we need so many. Oh, we need so many. I would love to see more young ladies get involved in science, technology, engineering. I mean, this is such an amazing field, and you can really accomplish so much. Me personally, no. But again, I mean, I know my limits. And this is something where, again, my daughter thought very seriously about this side, especially the laboratory settings, that kind of thing. And then she just decided, no, she wanted to work on the people side. But I do have a neighbor that he has two sons. One is a civil engineer, and the other one is a chemical engineer. And guess where the chemical engineer works? He works in Napa Valley in California for a winery, because it takes science, believe it or not, and engineering to create wine. So who knew? So he's very happy with his wine job. And then the other son is actually fixing the roads down the street from us. So he's running the show for some street construction that's going on, basically, the next city over for us. So this is something that makes his father very happy, because when you hear about civil engineering, you think, okay, I have to go somewhere and build this bridge. You're kind of, when disasters hit, the civil engineers always go to where that is. And he was kind of concerned that he's gonna end up following earthquakes and that kind of thing. And so he was very happy to hear that he was actually going to stay close to home and work on roads. So again, the choices are endless in all of these different clusters. Let's see here. I've lost my mouse. There it is. So transportation, distribution, and logistics, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, here's something that if you love to travel, if you love to drive, I have to tell you, I would think it'd be so cool to be a truck driver. I am constantly asking, let's go for a drive. Let's, go on a little adventure somewhere. And I mean, I love driving. I absolutely love it. And that's something that, if I didn't want to stay at home with, raising my kids, I may have done it. You never know. But you can be a commercial pilot. Now, I have another example for this one. I used to date a guy in high school and part of college where he decided he wanted to be a pilot. So through high school, he was getting his private pilot's license, and then he went into college to get his aviation degree. And he actually wanted to go into the military. He wanted to fly jets, like most people do. But actually, the more he thought about it, he thought, actually, I would prefer to fly the transport planes, the huge ones that take the tanks and the troops everywhere. Unfortunately, he couldn't go into the military because of his eyes, which I think is something that they don't require anymore. So what did he do instead? His parents moved up north. So he basically, if he wanted a place to live after college, he was going to have to go up north. He ended up starting his own company where he flies people to and from different areas of up north. We're in Michigan, so we're kind of surrounded by water, and there's a lot of areas here where there are people living where it's a boat or a plane to get there. So that's basically what he does. He ferries people around and supplies in his airplane. I mean, it's just, when you think about it, it's really amazing how, you have it in your head. It's like, okay, if I can't do that exact thing, what can I do that satisfies that desire? And that's exactly what I did. What can I do that satisfies my administrative and, organizational, detail-oriented skills? But I can't be in marketing and sales support anymore. So what can I do? And that's how I ended up in coding, and have been here for 24 years now, I think, 23. So again, lots of opportunities within different areas. And then you have the 6 Holland career clusters, which basically tells you, it gives you an idea of, what's the realistic ones: investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. And then here it basically explains what these are. Okay, realistic is occupations in this cluster require manual, work with your hands, and mechanical, know how to fix things skills. So this basically breaks down each area and says, this is what you're going to need to be successful in this area. And what I like about this too is down at the bottom, it gives you an idea of what you're looking at. A cluster contains occupations at all educational entry levels, but most are at 2 years training beyond high school or less. Lot of careers out there that, don't require a ton of college and well, I will say that my particular career, I do have to get certain educational units every year to stay certified. My certification requires education units every year. So I think we all need to just accept the fact that you're always going to be learning. Whether it's required learning or it just happens to be accidental learning. I mean, it's just, we're always looking for opportunities, and with opportunity, there has to be some effort. There has to be, one way or another, you have to put forth the effort to really, move forward in anything. Eating, you have to make the effort of dinner. You got to make dinner if you want to eat. So, it's just something we have to do. Investigative. Most occupations require at least an associate degree. Artistic. Again, not one for me, but boy, I sure am impressed with the people that fit into this group. Boy, I'm telling you. And then you've got social. Now, again, this is where I would fit in. Occupations in this cluster require good communication skills, speaking, writing, relating well to others. Work involves dealing with people for the purpose of helping them in some way, teaching, counseling, physical care, etc. Satisfaction comes from being able to help others. This is a real big thing too with mentoring coders. You really can't just jump in and be a coder. You really need to have somebody on the other side that's got a lot of experience and can, kind of work through some of the more hairy parts of coding. I mean, there's a lot of guidelines, there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of laws. You kind of have to understand all of that. And that comes with experience. So that's something that, you know, in any career, really, I would hope that people would want to reach out and help others to be as successful as you will be. And then again, this contains occupations at all educational entry levels. I went to school for, it's not an associate's degree, it was a certification program. And I don't remember now, I think there were 8 or 9 classes that I had to take. But then after that, I had to actually learn how to do the procedural coding, which was another very intensive class that was 20 weeks, and then you had to sit for an exam. So for me, it was a lot of, was going to school plus a lot of homework, but it was only for a year. And then after that, I got my certification, and then it was just a question of building experience. So, every area is different. But I figured, well, if I don't take that year and do that, where am I going to be in a year? I'm going to be in the same place I am right now. But if I take that step and, I take that class, maybe this will work out. Maybe I'll have a career at the end of it. And here I am, that was in 2005. And here we are, 2022. And this is where I'm at. I'm an auditor now. Enterprising, again, selling products and services, managing people. This is various levels of education, but most require a bachelor's, a 4-year college degree. So this is, or I like this, ability to persuade or influence others. Okay, well, if you want to be a TikTok influencer, I suppose, I wouldn't suggest it, but hey, who am I? Conventional. I'm probably more on the conventional side. This is probably, well, yeah, this totally fits with me for every career I've had. So you find what you're good at and you tailor your career goals in that direction, because if you don't love what you're doing, you don't want to go in every day hating what you're doing. So, this is how I more or less transitioned from the marketing support that I couldn't do anymore into the healthcare coding, because it's basically, what do I like to do? What am I good at? I'm conventional. Coding is conventional. This basically hits on all areas of what I've done in my career. And again, most occupations can be entered with less than 4 years of college. At the time, that I was getting out of high school, I wanted to jump right into the administrative roles. I wanted to work. I had already been working through high school. So that's what I did. And then when I decided to change careers, I went to school. So, everybody's path is different, but we all get there in the end. And then the homework for next session, as I mentioned before, really just go through these slides, because there are some excellent ideas for career paths for you. And then anything that, triggers even just a little bit of interest, get online, see what's out there. Ask people that are in that career, how they like it. What did they do to get there? What would they change, about the path that they took. Just really think about, you know, what did you always do as a kid? Okay, I always I was in my basement pretending I was a teacher, or I was pretending that I was doing some sort of administrative work. Um, I was always typing. I loved typing, still love typing. And I would always, when I went to work in high school, I went into administrative jobs. I was answering telephones and they had a typewriter there. So when the phones were quiet, I would pick up a magazine. I would open the magazine. I would find the longest article I could find, and I would just start typing that article. And I got to the point where I was so good at typing, I still to this day type over 120 words a minute. And, you know, that's a skill that has taken me through my entire life. And it's something that, you know, pays off really no matter what you're doing. I can't text very well because, you know, I am a traditional typist, but that skill got me into data entry in high school. That skill got me into my first job outside of high school, which moved me into word processing, which moved me into marketing. So, you know, you never know where you're going to end up. Just focusing on the things that you enjoy doing. And that's something that I think I would really stress the most. You know, find out what your interests are. It could be the littlest thing. I mentioned gardening. I mean, maybe maybe you love baking, and then all of a sudden, you know, you own a bakery. So for homework, I would say, you know, really just look at each slide, see which slide fits you right now, and which slides you think, you know, you have an interest in, but you're not quite sure. And kind of look at all of those and see what kind of opportunities, see what information you can find on them, and try to reach out to people and ask them about their own experiences. And, you know, that may help guide you in some of the decisions that you make. And just remember that the decision you make is not your final decision. There's always options, there's always choices, you're never stuck. So you can always move on to something else if it, you know, doesn't pay off for you, if it doesn't fit in with your life anymore, like mine, you know. So thank you very much. I appreciate you listening to me, and I hope that I've been a little bit helpful.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. This is a very important and valuable information. And I want to point out something that you said, that it was find what you're good at and tailor yourself in that direction. So I think that's the important thing to do. Someone here in the chat box said, just focus on the things you enjoy doing. So that's the first thing. So remember your homework. So we discussed today 16 national career clusters and 6 Holden career clusters. So go back, like Rebecca said, and look the slides, take screenshots, get online, ask people about their path. Think about what you always enjoyed as a kid, right? And then go back and see that. And maybe it could be a little bit overwhelming when you see the clusters, but then you start, okay, I like arts, but this is not for me. And then you go and narrow those options for you, complete the career survey, that it could maybe help you through that path. So definitely go back. So this is going to be recorded in our Facebook group, Love Our Youth, or in our YouTube page. So you can go back as many times as you want. You can screenshot, and most important, don't forget to share with other youth. So our next Career Lounge Live will be on 2023. So make sure you stay connected. You go to our Facebook group, or you can email us info@loveouryouth.org, and don't forget to invite a youth. So again, we want to give a special thanks to the Career Launch Live sponsor, EXL, a leading data analytics and digital operations and solutions company. If you want to learn more about EXL, You can just go online, www.exlservice.com. So thank you so much to EXL, because of them, we can bring this to you at no cost. And we want to thank you, our facilitator, Rebecca. I enjoy everything that you have said. You have personality. I laughed a lot today. So it was very, very a great pleasure to be with you today. So thank you so much for being here with me. Any final
I
thoughts
enjoyed
that
it.
you have today for you?
Listen, go out there and make an impact. You know, we need you. You're the future. Get out there and show us the best that you've got. I know you'll be amazing. And good luck. Good luck to all of you. I really, I look forward to seeing all of your accomplishments.
Yes, we all look forward to that. So thank you again so much, all of you, for joining us, and we will see you in 2023 with the next Career Launch Live. So have a good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.